Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. Today's video, I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I want to cover a couple different tweet threads here. We're going to start with Johnny Deaton in regards to the Ripple versus SEC stuff, in regards of a conversation on potential settlement stuff, and then a digital asset investor. I put up this 2-minute and 37-second video here that I think is quite interesting. We're going to cover that, and we're going to end on Bitcoin magazines here with Kevin OLeary. Quickly coming over to CoinGecko, we're currently still under $1 trillion market cap, currently sitting at $965 billion, currently up 4.3% for the day. Coming down here, Bitcoin sitting at 20,583, Ethereum sitting at 1,191. Coming down here, XRP is currently sitting at 33 cents. Looking at our top gainer, we have Quant at 14.4%. Uniswap was recently the top gainer. I think it was up by like 15-16% or something. It could have been higher, but I think there was a listing, or there's been an update on Twitter, and there's been a listing on Robinhood. So the Uni token, or I guess the Uniswap has been listed on Robinhood, which is pretty interesting. Aave is up 14%, Curve DAO is up 12%, and so on. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fair Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 18, so we were up 3 points from yesterday. Still in this extreme fear range, so obviously there's still a lot of market uncertainty. I wanted to cover Johnny Deaton's conversation here because I think it's quite interesting, and I think it kind of does provide some sort of like, I guess you could say, clarity in regards of kind of how things can kind of pan out, because there's been a lot of conversations of whether Ripple at this point would want to settle with the SEC. So he's saying, I see people saying Ripple won't settle now. If Gary Gensler called Mary Jo White and said, quote, pay $100 million, admit you sold the security between 2013 and 2015, we will declare all ongoing and future sales of XRP a non-security. Bragg on House would write the check immediately. He continues, Ripple is going to not settle so that the overall crypto market gets a favorable ruling. Garland House has a duty to Ripple shareholders, not the crypto market. Plus, there is no guarantee Ripple will do better than that with the judge's ruling. There are way too many variables. First, a settlement that gives XRP non-regulatory clarity, but better yet, regulatory certainty moving forward is worth a lot more than $100 million. Second, a settlement ends the litigation, and therefore there are no appeals. If Ripple wins summary judgment, the SEC will likely appeal. Third, if the SEC declared ongoing and future sales of XRP as a non-security, the exchanges will 100% relist XRP. If there is a decision by the judge that today's XRP is not security, but her ruling is appealed, the exchanges will likely relist XRP, but it's not 100. Fourth, it is possible the judge does not completely resolve the issues, i.e. she grants only partial summary judgment and finds that there are factual issues for a jury to decide, in the case or part of the case moves forward with lengthy jury trial. Fifth, because Ripple has been successful and is hiring people while others are firing people and filing for bankruptcy, people underestimate how much damage this case has inflicted on adoption and Ripple's business. XRP being declared non-security in the US is critical. Me stating these things does not mean I think a settlement is imminent. It also does not mean I believe Ripple will lose or anything like that. I'm only saying that if Ripple were able to achieve regulatory certainty with a settlement, it would be a no-brainer, which I 100% agree, obviously based on the information that I have. Johnny Deaton finishes, he says, Bragg on House is savvy enough to know that if he could achieve certainty, he wouldn't hesitate to also give Gary Gensler political and public victory by agreeing to the terms. Ripple would go public, and you would see Brad and Gary on the stage together in the further. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. And I've been seeing through Twitter, obviously coming down here, kind of reading through the tweet thread and the conversation that's been happening, checking out a couple different videos. I think pretty much everybody's kind of coming to a consensus in that regard. And there's obviously some other opinions that have been brought up, based on other variables and stuff. But this is Johnny Deaton's, from his law background and his understanding of the case and kind of what's going on. This is kind of his take on it. I wanted to cover this. It says, this is from Digital Asset Investor. Congress, this is the SEC of the United States of America. We are waiting for just one congressional hero to step forward and stand for the truth and the future of this country and our children. Hold the SEC accountable. Who will it be? So let's take a listen into this.
The public benefits by knowing full and fair disclosure and that somebody's not lying to them.
I do want to say that both of these folks are government employees, SEC and Homeland Security.
And he was really, really smart, forward-leaning agent. And he goes, I want to go interview Satoshi Nakamoto. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, I want to go interview this guy. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's a figment of somebody's imagination. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not true. So, we had all this pushback from our headquarters. And we thought, hey, if an agent wants to go talk to him and we have some money, why don't we send him? Let's find out how this works. So as it came to be, the agents flew out to California and they realized that he wasn't alone in creating this. There were 3 other people, and they sat down and met with them and talked to them to find out how this actually works and what their reason for it was.
Basic protections. And whether you're buying a crypto token or you're buying a security such as equities or a security such as an asset-backed security, those basic disclosures, because we in America let investors take risk. You get to decide what risk you want to take, but the person raising the money and selling you those financial assets ought to not defraud you, ought to give you the information so you can make your decisions.
A person can buy from any number of different type entities. We may limit the unit size of a sale.
So for all of us that's been a part of the XRP community, been a part of this class action lawsuit, and been following the case, we all know about the old Joe Lubin disguised well speech that he's given, and that's kind of how he's putting it in this specific segment of the video. And I want to see how far this thing goes. Yeah, I think that's the entire conclusion of the video. But yeah, we all know about the disguised wells of them, buying on, different identities, different emails, different proportions, so it doesn't raise any red flags or whatnot. So from the information that we have, we came down to a pretty sound conclusion that this whole ecosystem doesn't sound so decentralized as they claim that it is. But with all this information, it's like, okay, who's going to step up and hold the SEC accountable? And it's crazy how Gary Gensler here in this clip here is talking about giving the investors, we let the investors, take on that risk and invest in certain things. Obviously, that's weird because we have this whole accredited investor rule out here in the United States, which is kind of absurd. But anyways, you've almost, decimated and destroyed a lot of people's lives in regards of, continuing this lawsuit with Ripple and XRP, because these thousands and thousands of XRP investors have been completely hurt and their portfolios have been diminished and devastated, due to the conflicts of interest and the overregulation by enforcement from the SEC, and not even responding to over 68,000, class action lawsuit members within the community that you're so-called set out to protect. It's crazy. And then he's talking about giving you the information necessary so you can make an educated decision on things you want to invest in. But we can't even get Ripple can't even get information to fight their position within the case. You don't want to give up the documents. You want to delay and appeal and try to suppress all this information. But you're sitting here claiming, these people behind these companies and businesses and blockchain companies have to make sure that they're giving out these informations of these securities so people can, and they have to register, and so all these people have this information to make sound decisions. But you can't even give the information for a company to, fight for the health and welfare and life of the company, which is crazy. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of the whole spiel, and I'm curious to see, how far this thing goes. It's currently sitting at 154 retweets, 9 quote tweets, and 356 likes. So we'll check that back in with that tomorrow. But we're going to end on this. It says, new Shark Tank Kevin OLeary's quote, once regulations are in place, the price of Bitcoin will quadruple. So whether Kevin OLeary is right or wrong, it's kind of his take on what happens in regards of when regulation comes in. As we've been following, if you've been following this channel, you've been, diving deep into the crypto community and kind of getting all the information that you possibly can, it almost seems like, all the stars are aligning in a sense. All the ducks are getting lined up, and things are starting to fall in place in regards of like, okay, we've had decimation of, major blockchain companies, bankruptcy and all that stuff. The market has been brought back down, or as they say, let's turn the shit back around for, the wealthy 1%ers to get in if they miss the boat or whatever. So all these things are starting to line up. So now we're going to have regulations come in here soon. We may have a Bitcoin spot ETF that may come in. Ripple versus SEC lawsuit may come to a conclusion. All these different things. I just feel like everything's going to line up perfectly to where this reversal is going to happen within the market, and the market's going to just completely take off. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a small number in regards of what's going to happen. And it could take, years, 5 years, a decade, whatever the case is. But, I definitely agree with this. Once regulations is in place and it's proper and it's just for the health and innovation within the space, is definitely going to be extremely massive. We're going to be laughing at this market cap of $965 billion, which is crazy. But with all that being said, that's kind of the update. We're going to continue to bring you more content. Make sure you subscribe to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. Really excited to continue to bring you content and grow our community here. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.